Hey everybody, what's up? It's Sandra and Sonia back again for another episode of Twins Talk Tubi. And we are still in the month of May, and our theme for this month is Killer Kids. So all the movies that we're reviewing are about these crazy little kids causing havoc. And the
Mhm.
movie we are reviewing today, it's called June, and this came out in 2015, and this is the premise. 9-year-old June hides a dark secret. Having left a series of foster homes in her wake, June has been relocated again. As she settles into her new surroundings, her foster parents are unaware that a powerful demon hides within the young girl. And we're going to start this off as we always do with our first time reaction of the movie on the count of three. One, two, three. Okay. So, overall, I thought the movie was pretty good. It was decent story, although we'll get to that later. But overall, I thought it started off really good. Like I said, this little girl that's been going from foster home, and you can tell right away that things have not been going well for her. There's something going on with her. We find out kind of pretty early in the movie that it's like a supernatural thing that's going on with her. And her, I guess it's her social worker or the
Yeah,
man from the place that places her is aware that something is you can't really tell at first if he knows exactly what it is, but he knows this that June is special. We'll say that.
Mhm.
Um, something happens in the last foster home that she was in. We get to see it. I thought that whole thing was pretty cool, though people were dicks. And I felt so bad for her. She was really in a really bad place, and then something happens, and then she gets relocated again to the seemingly nice couple. They're really looking forward to having, a child, and they do their best to take care of her. So this is where I got a little bit like I got a little turned off by it because up until that point, when she moves in with the couple and things start going on with her, going to school and things like that, and of course, she's a new kid and she gets a little bit bullied and stuff, and some of that crazy stuff starts showing itself. All that was cool, and then I she it didn't feel like I don't know. This might not be a big deal, I guess, for the movie itself, but I don't think it felt like they did enough to try and help her or find out what they could do to help her. I guess the mom did more because at a certain point the dad was kind of like, the husband was kind of like, I don't know what we can do with her or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know. I started feeling bad for her, and then it didn't really make sense, the whole thing of why this ghost or whatever it was after her. Um, it seemed to be something that was like passed down because they had a little scene in the beginning what looked like I guess it was her when she was a baby and they were doing this ritual or something, and so I don't know. And then it got weirder from there. And then at the end, they went back to like that whole ritual thing with uh the girl being led there and kind of taken by this entity, or trying to get taken by this entity. I don't know. I don't know. It went a little kind of left, and then after like maybe halfway through, I wasn't as interested anymore. That's why I gave it my review.
yeah, I thought it was just okay. It was kind of
Yeah.
boring. I also thought that in movies like this, most of the time the parents kind of fight tooth and nail to save their child or their
Yeah.
watch a child or whatever, and they didn't do as much or
Yeah.
things that they probably should have done. I thought the cultish kind of ritual thing in the beginning was weird, and they didn't really address it much in the movie. They started off with this kind of ritual event in the beginning of the
Yeah,
movie that we all saw, and then in the at the end it kind of came back around.
it
But
went back.
I
Yeah,
feel like in the middle, there should have been, while if they're doing some kind of real thorough investigation of where she came from, like who she's with, who's her original parents, things like that.
right.
It should have, at some point in the middle of the movie, should have, or at some point in the movie, should have been traced
Yeah.
back to that weird shit that was happening.
And they witnessed some of the things that were happening. So you
Yeah,
would think they would try to like dig more into
more. Yeah, and they
what
did,
it
and they
was.
didn't. So I thought it was. I was watching this movie thinking that it doesn't even make sense that they had this ritual thing in the beginning because it doesn't seem to have anything to do with the movie.
But they
Although
didn't
it
explain
does
it
seem like, yeah, like you said, she kind of had this in her either from child, like when she was a baby, or at some point it was awakened or something in her. And now she's a,
from
because of that.
from the mother, it seemed
Yeah,
like.
because of what happened and all that. But they didn't, that wasn't, I feel like that wasn't made to be the main plot.
Yeah,
And it probably should have been.
it should have been. Yeah,
And it might have been better if it was. And I feel like they, in the middle, what ended up happening was that they threw in kind of filler stuff just to like trying to shock you with like things that she did
yeah.
and whatever, but it wasn't, it didn't kind of make sense to a
Yeah.
degree. So
Even if they had, they didn't, and they didn't have to do much. Like, even if they had, like, maybe halfway through or once they started seeing the things that she was able to do or things that she was making happen, if they did like a little flashback or something,
yeah, they didn't show
showing,
anything.
showing the mother, like the June's mother, her biological mother being in this environment and I guess essentially not wanting to do what these people in this cult or wherever she was in, not wanting to do what they wanted her to do. And she ran away. And obviously she had, the baby, was pregnant. And so that makes sense because she would leave the crazy shit was happening. She leaves this cult. She runs away. She has this baby, and she doesn't keep the baby because she's scared of the whole ritual thing, or she's just alone and she can't take care of her, so she gives her up. And then that's why she fell into the foster system, and that's why all this
Yeah.
stuff. Like it could have been a quick thing to kind of see where, like, okay, this is how it
Oh,
started.
that's
This
why,
is why,
and that's why this is happening. And to kind of
right?
give us, instead of leaving us to kind of figure it out, it was kind of like we had to figure it out ourselves, or
Yeah,
make up why we think these things
yeah.
were happening, or why we think she was in the fourth, I don't know.
Right. Because I thought, I didn't even, it was only when it was getting to the end of the movie where and then it turned out that the guy, that social worker guy, was in on this cult thing. So he's
Yeah,
been watching over her, which I thought that was pretty good too.
yeah. And
A
they
good
should have,
part of the plot and everything. If they had explained it a little bit more. But I think like once you found that out, well, once I found that out, I was like, because I didn't see that coming. I really didn't. I
no,
just thought like he just taking care of this little
he just
girl and
genuinely
yeah,
works at this place, and he's helps kids,
right.
find the right home and things.
And but once you find out, oh, he's actually watching her until because she had to be, I guess she had to get to a certain point, a certain age or
Mhm.
something for her to, you know,
Like the full
have her
abilities,
full
or
powers or whatever she has, right? So he was like the one watching her and waiting for this to happen so they can take her to complete this ritual thing. I thought that part was pretty cool. Um, but it wasn't until right after that when they were taking her and they were starting this thing where I remembered, oh, this is what was happening in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, they
Because they
totally
weren't like mentioning it, like we were saying, they weren't mentioning it.
they
So
totally missed that whole thing. It should have been that should have been the main plot and that they focused on the most. And then yeah, in the middle throw in, she meets these foster parents and them trying to have some kind of decent life with her and then the things happen. But it should always at a few points in the middle should have been touching back on that, what was
right,
happening in the beginning of the movie. So we see so we can see as the viewers how things are tying in and then at the end when we find out, oh, this guy was like her caretaker and then it,
right,
ends how it ends. But yeah, it was just okay.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, you guys, listen. As always, you guys make up your own mind. You guys watch the movie. It's called June. Obviously, it's on Tubi. If you watched it or if you're gonna watch it, let us know what you thought about it. We'll be back next week with another episode. Make sure you are subscribed to here to our YouTube channel so you can watch all our Twin Talk Tubi videos. We are also part of the Horror Flick Chicks, and we have our Horror Flick Chicks podcast here on YouTube as well. So please like these videos and subscribe. You can follow us on all our socials too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And our podcast is also streaming on several audio platforms, so make sure you check that out. As always, thank you guys so much. This is Sandra and Sonia signing out, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.